I got to tell you,
And so,
my biggest critiques is people, they come to me all the time like, and they'll say, I have no friend who knows me. Is he always like that? Is this really him? Is he on when the cameras are on? I promise you, this is who I am all the time. You can ask my second grade
heck yeah.
teacher. There's kids out there that couldn't sit still and always talked, but still happy. That's us. Yes, this is
Hey,
always, yeah.
and that's authenticity. That's what it's all about. People can read through fake these days, at least with their gut feeling.
Right,
I'm all,
right.
I'm all about gut feeling, man. Within 5 minutes, you should at least have some kind of gut feeling about something or someone. You may learn something different down the road, right? But it's that gut feeling. To me, trust your gut because it's right more than it's not. Accountability, something you talked about through those shared dashboards and those real-time response metrics. What is that, like tell people like what's that about?
Well, when you talk about government, there's a distrust in especially how money is spent. And then when you see, a federal shutdown or how we evaded a state shutdown, these are services that people every day count on. And so I look at it as the higher you go, the greater the accountability. And when you look at state government and you have, people that are every day working hard to pay state income tax, to go in to fund a budget, and they're paying dues and revenues, all of that has to be open for people to know logically this is where your money is being spent effectively and efficiently. So I know in Lansing there's an issue about FOIAs and exemptions. FOIAs, if it's not exempted for a reason of either confidentiality or an active investigation, my whole career has been to be unclear is to be unkind. Give the information. FOIAs should not be used as a weapon. We see that also. I understand that, but also things that people can't get a grasp on the process. I've said before, I think MEDC has a great advantage of promoting economic development throughout the state of Michigan. But I personally, as a detective, did a case before it was called MEDC, where millions of dollars were exploited and taken from MEDC with back then what it was called different. It was never, there was no accountability. And I'm thinking, how does this happen? If this is the biggest engine that drives economy and you have active investigations through the attorney general's office against people who are given money, that's the people's money, or you have people that were given money but didn't follow through with what they said they were going to do, that's the people's money. Give it back and let's have an accountability. And not only that, a system in place, because you don't want to take away from the businesses and ideas that are really legitimate and that can do a great job. It's all about business and it's about relationships and doing it the right way. That's where the transparency comes in. And you need somebody at the top saying, we're going to make sure that everybody has the answers. If we don't know now, we're going to get them to you, or we're going to give you a reason why we can't tell you.
Heck yeah, no, and that's the MADC, that's been a lot of talk about recently, right? Like, they were a lot of that funding was wanting to be it's been in jeopardy, right? And I'm all for that, right? Because sometimes certain things need that boost to get going. Where I kind of agree with a lot of people is okay, you got X corporation that just turned out $5 billion in profit last year. No problem if we think, hey, X amount of tax credits will help them build that factory. But where I think to me, a lot of voters question is, well, sometimes when something doesn't work out, it feels like their $100 million got swiped from them.
And let me add to it too. Tax credits that are for the advancement of the industry where the local, county, state are all in line without taking away from state healthcare and education. You don't want to take from the people to fund corporations. There's a way to do that both. And at the same time, now you have what I call a ecosystem where there's stability. You know, we talked off camera about, my business background. I bought my pony at 9 years old named Molly cash because I sold gum and golf balls and collected pop bottles and beer bottles. And I had it for 18 years. I've always been business hustle. My wife and I have businesses. That's the state's job is, to run this on the judicial side for the protection of people's rights, the legislative side on passing laws, but a governor is the executive administrator of the state to enforce laws, maintain order. And so a governor that's able to have a mind and a background of business to make sure that those processes are in place, that's how you have stability. Otherwise, you're competing with 49 other states, or you're coming up with a great idea where this group wasn't included at the origination of the idea. They weren't at the table. You didn't get their perspectives. And now you're fighting from within and nobody wins. You lose big projects. And when you're trying to increase the economy of a state, then that's more than just big businesses. It's supporting the businesses that are here, the Department of Innovation. It's reducing costs, looking at revenue sharing, looking at the things that local municipalities need to thrive. All those are on the table to say what makes the most sense.